Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brian from USA.Patriot.Cards. And I wanted to come on here, quick video. It's been a minute since I was able to jump on. And I just wanted to give a little bit of perspective on where we are, where you might be, how to feel, and give just a little bit of a positive word, a little bit of encouragement to everyone that's still chugging along, still engaging in this hobby that we all love so much. I mean, clearly, if you're watching this video, you're a sports card enthusiast too, even a non-sports card enthusiast. We find ourselves in a market today that is getting harder and harder to justify making cardboard purchases, right? I mean, let's just be honest with the bank failures and with like Bitcoin running up so much. It feels like we need to be really protective of our money. You know, I've been selling a lot lately, right? And had I liquidated that cash and not set it aside looking for a card to buy, but instead had been dumping it into Bitcoin when it was 16, 17, 18K, it's a 28.6 or 28.5, somewhere around there right now. I mean, Bitcoin's running right now, and I'm afraid to jump into it, honestly. I don't necessarily believe that it's going to be there for a long time. I don't believe it's on its way back up to 60 or 70. It just doesn't make sense. What I think is happening is people are getting afraid of leaving their money in the banks and are like, what can I do? Where can I put my money? And Bitcoin is like the first like answer, or the first like exit ramp that makes the most sense. It's kind of a retail bit. It's kind of a retail crypto. I mean, it's people have heard of Bitcoin. People know they can spend Bitcoin. The problem is I think that the bankers that are, well, without getting too political, I think that there's an agenda behind some of these collapses that we're seeing, and I think it's to move us into a digital currency controlled by the Fed. Fiat money is dying on the vine. I mean, it's just been overprinted, and people are losing faith in it. And other countries aren't necessarily dealing in U.S. dollars. At this point, they're looking for alternative ways to buy oil, which is really what has propped up the U.S. dollar for so long. Is that there was, you had to purchase like oil in U.S. dollars, even if you were like say Saudi Arabia and you were selling it to Russia, you had to convert the two currencies into U.S. dollars to purchase the oil. And so I don't think countries are willing to play by that rule anymore. And I just see bad days ahead, really bad days ahead for our currency here in the U.S. And so that's why I think they're going to try to move us into a digital bank, federal reserve controlled digital currency. Well, all that being said, I almost would rather buy another sports card right now than Bitcoin, just because I think they're setting us up with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is due for another crash, and that money is going to be lost. And I think they're going to scare us away from Bitcoin and make us feel like the only safe place to be is in this digital Fed coin that they're going to roll out. All that being said, to say that it's dangerous out there, you know, it's wild times out there. And if you're still in this space, if you're still collecting, it's because you're a true collector. You're a true passionate sports card collector who loves sports cards and who loves sports and the athletes that make these cards so great. I just watched the Mavericks last night. Been watching them, every night just about for the past 30 years. But once they got Kyrie, I got really, really re-energized and refocused, and watching every possession, every minute of the Mavericks lately. And tell you what about Kyrie Irving, he is misunderstood. I think. I, I remember when we traded for Rajon Rondo, um, back when Dirk was still on the team. We were going, we were going for it, so to speak, trying a win now approach. And Rajon Rondo did not want to be a Maverick. I mean, he was as piss poor of a player as we could ever have imagined, as Mavs fan. That's the trade that everybody points to, as the, well, it better. Hopefully, it's not another Rondo situation, or at least it's not Rondo. And I think that most of the Mavs fans thought that Kyrie could be another Rondo situation, and he's been anything but. Last night he dove into the stands like 4 rows deep to save a loose ball. He's taken a leadership approach to this team. Luke has been out; he's been hurt. And Kyrie wears these wins and losses on his sleeve. I love everything about the guy. I picked up a 2012 Prism silver rookie PSA 10, which is a Pop 26 card. Impossible to find. I had to get my cardboard Jesus connection on the hunt for that card. He was able to find it in a matter of 20 minutes for me. Somebody that wanted to sell, but ever since I picked that card up, I've been looking for something else to pick up of Kyrie's, and being selective, trying not to just go after any, shiny thing. I found this Clutch Factory here. It's from his days with the Cavs. There's a lot of cool stuff out there from his days in Boston. I just going to try to stay away from anything Kyrie in Boston, because that whole time was bad for both. I mean, the Celtics fans have a horrible taste in their mouth for Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving has a horrible taste in his mouth for Boston. So I'm going to try to stay away from anything Boston and Kyrie Irving. I was happy to find this. It's game used. It's out of 25. Got it at a pretty reasonable price. Put it this way, I got it for half of what I paid on a Dirk with a similar patch, less than half. So, yeah, I just wanted to. I was talking to my friend today, Wes, on the phone, and he's the type of guy that gets into a card and then gets out of it. Not super. I mean, he's essentially a flipper, but he flips with a collector's mentality, if that makes sense. So he'll get into players he likes, he'll get into players he believes in, and he'll hold, until he feels like he can move it for a deal and take a 10-20% profit mostly. He doesn't get beat a lot on cards. And so he was talking about a recent deal that he did and asked me if I liked the deal. And I said, well, for me, it wouldn't have made a ton of sense, because I don't move in the same way that you move. Being that I like to get cards and hold them. I like to get big cards and keep them. And then we started talking about the differences just in our approach, because I think we're very similar in our passions. I mean, I know he loves the sports card market. He loves sports. He loves these players that he likes to collect. And so it's not that he's just in it for the money. He just likes to move, take profits, move, take profits, move, where I tend to hold and sit and enjoy the cards. And if that costs me a little money, so be it. I mean, that's what this is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, we're consuming a product that gives us enjoyment. When I went out and bought my Prism Kyrie Silver PSA 10 rookie, I did that under the notion that I was going to sit and watch the Maverick games and have a little Kyrie sweat. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to feel a little something when he hits a three in the corner, when he makes a crazy drive to the basket and scores, or how he's our closer in the fourth quarter. And when he dropped that dime to Maxi Kleber the other day and he hit that three with literally no time left on the clock and we beat the Lakers, I was elated. When we jumped out to a 20-point lead yesterday at Memphis, and then only scored 9 or 12 points in the fourth quarter and ultimately lost, I was elated for 3+ quarters, and then I wore this loss on my sleeve, woke up a little bit. Oh yeah, Mavericks lost their lead late last night. This is what it's about. And it brings me, if I think about sports cards all day. I consume sports card content on YouTube all the time. I watch sports and enjoy the players that I collect. I try to spend as much time with my collection as possible. I make videos on YouTube. I mean, these are all things that I choose to do, spending my time in this hobby. So it's going to cost me some money, you know. So if I buy that if I buy that Irving Pop 26 silver rookie, um, you know, for X amount of dollars, and then he doesn't end up re-signing with the Mavericks, and I go to liquidate that card and I lose 300 or 400 bucks on it, it's not the end of the world, you know. Instead of buying a $300 or $400 Mavericks ticket and going and sitting and watching a game with him, you know, I enjoyed holding this card for 4 months, 3 months, whatever it is. Maybe I don't sell it. Maybe I just keep it to remember the Kyrie, summer, the Kyrie months. I think he'll re-sign. I really do. I think he likes it here. But don't forget that. Don't forget that there's a reason we buy these cards, and it's to enjoy them. And make sure you're enjoying them. And it's not always about getting into a card and making your 10% and getting off. I mean, if it was about that, why wouldn't we be in another more tried and true market like stocks or like crypto? Um, I think that we're in this market because we love sports and we love these players that we collect. And another thing I was talking to Wes about is just our pedigree in this hobby. I mean, I think a lot of us were in it when we were kids and then came back. I just so happened to come back in about 2016, a couple years before the big bubble. So I was getting Lukas, Otani's, Mahomes, Josh Allen's, Dax, more or less, at cheap prices, you know. And so I was ripping some wax in 2018 when Topps Update was $100 a hobby box, 250 for a jumbo, you know. And I was pulling all those Otanis out and just keeping them. And then I graded them, and then just recently moved them along with a lot of other stuff. I did similar things. I collected in a similar fashion. I moved them for 18K at the Dallas Card Show. If you checked out that video, it was my last video, I think. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But point being is that when I came into the hobby, I came in and it's like getting into a stock early. You know, if you get into a stock early and it runs, then you have this stock that's got a bunch of value, right? That you've basically realized. And then so you start piecing it out for different stocks. And you're able to sit with those new stocks and maybe let them grow a little longer because you got into them for so cheap. But I was telling Wes, like, he came in back into this hobby at the height, right at the height. And so he's had to navigate, buying cards at the top and then getting off of them before they lose half their value. And so he's still here. He still loves the hobby. And I think that just shaped his approach because he has seen cards lose their value in a matter of months. And not necessarily because it was the player on the court or the field not performing, just strictly the way the market moves. So that's kind of shaped him as a collector, or as a participant in this hobby. Whereas I got in a little earlier, I've learned to sit with cards and let them appreciate, right? But I've pretty much turned everything over from those early days. And so I was telling him, like, now I'm at a crossroads where I've really got to think about how do I want to move forward in this. And it's gotten to this like paralyzation phase where I can't make any moves. I'm selling stuff. I bought this Kyrie, but as far as like big moves, I'm just a little gun shy at this point, because now it's time to like really play ball. Like, do I really want to go out and dump all this cash on this big card and hope hope I can make 10-20% on it? I mean, I don't know. To this point, I just haven't been able to do that. But he does it all the time. So kudos to you, Wes. Kudos to people like you for staying in this thing, especially if you got in from 2020 on. If you got in 2020 on and you're still here and you still love this hobby and you're still making moves, shout out to you. I tip my hat to you, because it's a hard place to be. People that got in early on Mahomes and Luka and Josh Allen, for that matter. have been able to sit with those cards, and they jump so much that even if they've come down, I mean, we're still net positive on most of those cards. And so it's kind of been easy if you were in it before, if you got in it, pre 2019. So yeah, we have to be careful. We have to be measured, I think. But at the end of the day, we also have to be fans of these players and these teams and this cardboard that we love so much. And don't be afraid. I watched a video about they were talking about Julio Rodriguez. His first Bowman refractor auto is twice as much as Mookie Betts' first Bowman refractor. And Mookie Betts has MVPs and he's won World Series and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want a Mookie Betts first Bowman refractor auto. Like I want to grab a piece of Julio, right, and then watch all the games that he plays, check all his box scores the next day, and see this rise that we all think he's about to take because it's fun, And if you end up holding that until he's 30, 31, like Mookie Betts, and it costs you half the money that you paid, so be it. But you had a good 10-year run where you had a piece of Julio, and there's going to be lots of opportunities to get off that card or trade that card or sell that card. But, maybe you don't. Maybe you just hold it all the way on the off chance that he becomes, maybe the next Griffey or the next Trout. And then you make money on that purchase. But it's all about the love of the sports, of the players, having a piece, right? Having a piece of that, because we can all get into fantasy leagues and we can all pay $100 to draft a player and he's on our fantasy team and this and that. And that's cool. It feels like you have a piece of that player, but try throwing 10 grand into a Julio Rodriguez first Bowman blue PSA 10 rookie auto. And then you'll feel like you really have a piece of that player. So it's fun. It moves sports fans and card collectors in a way that few other it scratches that itch, and it's not gambling. So you're not going out and putting $500 down on a Julio Rodriguez on a Mariners game or on like whether or not Julio will get 2 hits tonight or whatever. I mean, it's not that cut and dry, right? It's not like you either win 500 or lose 500. It's more slowly, it's safer, feels like less degenerate, like behavior to buy a card, hold on, but it still scratches that itch about like, come on, Julio, get this hit right here. Come on, buddy. So it gives you that it scratches that gambling itch without actually gambling. So anyway, if you're still here, hats off to you. I know a guy that sold, I think it was 5 National Treasures, true RPA Patrick Mahomes back in 2018. He had 5 of them, and I think he ended up making on selling all 5. He ended up making about 25K, which was really good, right? Because back then we didn't know Mahomes, and we didn't know these like prices were going to go up so much. But I think he'd be a millionaire 2 times over. I think he had like 2 million plus in Mahomes RPAs when the market was at its very top. And he still likes the hobby. And I noticed the other day, he's a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. And he has a Zeke rookie Prism Auto Rainbow. And he made a comment, post on his Instagram or Facebook about how he thinks he's just going to keep it. I know he's been trying to move it, but he hasn't had, like, I think he put way more money into that thing than he can get out. He even admitted that. But now that Zeke's moved on and is no longer a Cowboy, I mean, he really is going to take the L on that. But he's like, oh, well, like, I can appreciate Zeke for who he was and enjoy him. And yeah, I'm going to take a massive L on this rainbow. But he's still in it. So kudos to him, but that's a pretty tough one when you sold all your Mahomes NT true RPAs, but you kept your Ezekiel Elliott rainbow. That's tough. But this hobby's full of tough stories. It's a big boy hobby. So I don't know. With all that being said, let's go Mavericks. Keep you posted on any moves I make. looking at a few bigger Luca cards. Problem is, everybody wants comps from a month or 3 months ago when Luca was hot. He's been hurt for the last couple weeks. His market's definitely cooled off. People are wondering, if the Mavericks are even going to make the playoffs, let alone get back to the Western Conference Finals where they were last year. So I might have to chill on Luca, but I don't know. We're getting ready for baseball, basketball playoffs, NFL draft. It's gonna be interesting. So hang in there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.